Okay, so good evening, everyone, and welcome to the November monthly Zoom meeting of Southeast USA and Caribbean. And I would like now to draw your attention to our center ring. Picture yourself in a circus venue. Performing tonight, our own E-Club member, past District Governor Brad Robinson, and his lovely wife, Catherine, as they fly through the air with the greatest of ease, tripping the light fantastic high up on the trapeze. And Brad, Catherine, the stage is yours.
Thank you, and thank you for having us, Alicia. We're really excited about sharing this. It's fun to share it. So let's see, let's get some technical things done. I have to try to share the screen here with you. Host has disabled attendee screen sharing. Well, that's not starting off too well, Alicia. Oh. Try it again. All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
There we go. And let's see. I'm going to share the sound and do that. And then let's do that. Okay. All right. Can people see that screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So when I go into these presentations, I lose my visual of the Zoom videos. So just kind of have to
Can you make it a little larger? Can you expand it a little?
I will, once
Okay.
It starts.
All right, because it's kind of hiding in a corner.
It is hiding in a corner right now, you're right. But it's shy, but it won't be shy for long. Okay, so here we go, I think. Right. How's that? Is that better?
Good.
Perfect. That's better? Okay, hold on a second here. Let me find out where my cursor went. There it is. Okay, all right. So what we'll do tonight, we'd like to give you all just an idea of some of the aerial arts that are possible. And we're going to start from the beginning of when we started to do it, and then I'm going to take you through into how we incorporated it into Rotary, which I think is kind of fun, and particularly for this group, it will be fun. In the beginning, Catherine and I met at the Trapeze in Mexico. She traveled there from France and me from the US. We're both there in the front row. She's in the blue there and I'm right next to her. That's how we met. And that was our first circus team together. They call it was in Club Med, so they call them circus teams. And so that's my very first catch right there. It's a real simple, it's called a knee hang catch, real simple. And there's Catherine flying through the air. Okay, and so now what we've got a little video. In addition to the flying trapeze, we'll show you a little bit tonight what's called the stationary trapeze, or the static trapeze is called that. Catherine and I had a couple different acts that we put together, and I also, the different acts that you'll see tonight, I put the music together for them also. And so we'll show you some of the acts, some of the flying and whatnot. Let me end this show so that I can start the video. The video is going to be a little shaky, just with the, and a little stop and start, I think. It's not much we can do about that, just with the internet and the Zoom and all of that. There's only so much you can do. If it gets too bad, we'll cut out of it. But here, let's see. Okay. So this was our very first, it's called a doubles stationary trapeze act. And if it shows pretty well, we'll play through the whole thing. It's about 4 minutes long, but you'll get an idea of what, what we can do. This is what's called a double trapeze. Because there's two of us, you'll see some single trapeze a little bit later this evening too. This was recorded at the school where we do both the stationary and the flying trapeze. And this is the same act I think we did for Club Med, isn't it, Catherine? Isn't this the one? You might remember this a little bit because a little bit later on, we'll show you the next act we developed, which we've got some more difficult things in the next act. If you look in the upper right, you can see the platform for the flying trapeze and the net behind the platform. There you get a better, closer look of it. This is kind of difficult because I've only got her with the one foot in her leg there, and then she's laying on my foot with her head, so don't want to drop her. What's always hard about this move coming up right here is that you have to synchronize it to the music. Because the hands are supposed to touch right at that point. So we had to make sure that the routine was on time once we got there. Talking about dropping, Catherine actually dropped me from this once, and I'm still speaking to her. Okay, so that gives you an idea of a double stationary trapeze routine. So let us show you a few clips of some different flying trapeze routines. Okay. So here's some flying trapeze clips that we put together. This is a person that owns this school and was our teacher. And this is still at that school, another flyer. She's doing a split, and then she's going to do what's called an angel return. Look at her legs there. See, it's the angel return. So that's pretty hard to do. This is me. This was a Halloween. We did trapeze on Halloween, so I dressed up in a clown's costume and did that trick, which was kind of fun.
You did it, Brad! Yay!
I shoot catch in the clown costume.
And I'll email that to you today. Woo! Perfect.
So this is going to be that same trick at Club Med. Those people that are interested in the circus and flying trapeze, if you're selected, you get to perform in two different shows. One is this, the flying trapeze show, and the other is the circus show, where you would do a stationary trapeze like you just saw. This is me doing that. It's called an upper ice shoot to the catcher during a Club Med show.
Too high, too fast, and too good with upright shoot from California. It was Mr. Brad, and let's see like this.
This is Catherine, and this is in a school in San Diego. There's schools all over the country. This is one that we went down to every once in a while. She's going to be doing a straddle, what's called a straddle whip. You can see the catcher in the upper right-hand corner, by the way.
Ready?
Now, Catherine didn't get the bar there, but it wasn't her fault. The person that's supposed to drop it didn't drop it. Now, this is probably someone who's considered probably the greatest flyer that ever flew in trapeze. We're just lucky enough to know him. His name is Tony Steele. He was there that day in San Diego with us. So we shot a couple of the tricks for him. Notice at his head, most people go off the board that he's standing on. Notice on it, there is his head, he's up on that rise. It's called a riser. His head's over the bar. And the reason he's up that high, he's going to do what's called a pirouette after he does the trick. So watch what he does after he does this trick. It's a relatively easy trick. Here comes the pirouette. That's hard. But you need a lot of height to be able to do it, and that's why it was so high. Because here you'll notice he's not that high. His head's below that bar. The reason is because he doesn't need the same height that he had in the last trick. He's doing what's called a forward over in this, which is not quite as hard a trick. he makes it look so easy. It's not that easy. So
How old is that guy, Brad?
what's that?
How old is he?
I think when he was doing that, he was probably around 70 when he was doing that. He's still flying. I saw a picture of him a couple days ago. I forget what rig he was at, but and that was probably about 10, 12 years ago, something like that. So he's got to be around 80 now on that. So, but yeah, he's considered by a lot of people to be the greatest flyer that ever did trapeze. So, then I said, I'm going to bring this into Rotary. So let's do this now. There we go. Hope that's somebody coming in and not leaving. We're not that boring, are we? So anyway. Okay. Whoops, wrong one. Wrong one. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay. So when I was president of the club, I had what we called Family Day at the Circus, and we invited the entire district. And the idea was just to have fun for the whole district, and we'd raise some money too. It wasn't a huge amount of money. I think, it was like $2,000 or $3,000 that we raised too, just for some humanitarian things that we were doing. But more than anything else, it was just to have fun, for everybody to have fun. But we invited the entire district, and my club, I was in the Beverly Hills Club, and you'll see a couple current mayor and former mayor of Beverly Hills are in some of these clips. So we'll get at it. That just, gives you an idea of the eating area that we had. We were written up in the Rotarian magazine for what we did here. And so that's just a little bit of a shot at the article. People brought their kids, their grandkids and whatnot. And what was great about it for everybody, of course, was that, we were able to show everybody this was a Rotary event. And so everybody was very aware of that. Old and young, everybody got to do it. Everybody got to fly in the flying trapeze, which was a lot of fun. They had the trampoline, they had the high wire. And then here are the mayors I was talking about. The one on the right, I believe, was the current mayor at the time, and the one on the left was a former mayor. And they both went in the dunk tank. So anybody who was able to dunk them, then they had to donate a certain amount of money to Rotary and to our foundation. I got dunked too, of course. Okay, and so we put together a different trapeze act, a different stationary trapeze act. I'm not going to go through the whole thing like we did the other one, but you'll notice at the beginning we're doing a couple things that are a little harder with neck loops, attached to my neck, at some points, and Catherine's too, and so we're doing some of those things. And I'll just kind of skip through this performance. We won't do the whole thing, but just to give you an idea of what we were doing. Oops, wrong one. I'll get it together here. There we go. So I'm going to back this up so you can see that. So here come the neck loops. As you can see, a little bit more advanced than what we were doing the first time. This is probably 2 or 3 years later that we developed this and the music for this too. This is what we call like a false ending. People thought it was finished, but it wasn't really. We'll see why in a minute. So we're both going to end up in a neck loop here. Look at the costumes form a heart when they stand together like that, which we thought was kind of cool. Okay, so anyway, so that's one way that we brought it into Rotary. Then the next thing that we did, okay, celebration, that's good. When I was governor, of course, people knew that we did this, and they wanted me to do it at the district level. And I said, well, okay, I'll tell you what, if you'll commit to, I had to hire a circus to do that. And circus people came to our school, so we knew a lot of them. But they seat about 1,200 or so. And I said, look, if you'll commit to selling 1,000 tickets and $200,000 to the foundation, I'll commit to do a performance. And so they did. We ended up with, I think, something like 995 people that bought tickets. We didn't quite hit the 1,000, but it's still pretty good. And we did raise the 200,000. And so they ended up performing their part of the commitment, and I did mine. So we've got several pictures of the circus itself, and then I'll show you the performance that I did for the circus at the end here. So just, let's see, here we go. A lot of kids and grandkids came. So it was a family event, and everybody really loved it. And some more neck loops. And there's your hoop, by the way. That she did a hoop. Some contortion, there's some contortion. And so these are a couple pictures of me doing my act, doing my this single trapeze compared to what Catherine and I did. It's the double trapeze. And you might notice the trapeze actually is a little different. It's smaller. It doesn't have the handles on the outside like the other one did. When you do double trapeze, you've got to be, because there are two people on it, you've got to have a place to hold outside the trapeze sometimes. And on this, you don't have to do that. And I think, oh, here we go. It's just some more pictures. I was also the ringmaster and a clown in the, you can see there in the center. I was there in the center. So a lot of different duties that day, but it was a lot of fun. Everybody had a great time. Okay, so now we have a video of that performance. And again, we're not going to show you the whole thing. We'll flip through it real fast, just to give you an idea what went on. But as I said, we raised $200,000 for our foundation this day, and everybody had a really good time with it. All right. Hold on just a second, almost there. This one also, so it turned out pretty good. I'll just work through this a little bit. This was really hard too. A lot of abs. Anyway, so that was that. And And so I can give the screen back to you. Now, Alicia, what do I have to do? Do that. And stop share. Okay, how about that?
There you go.
There we go. How's that?
Perfect, perfect.
Okay.
Well done. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
I had a couple questions,
Sure.
and I invited other people to go ahead, and if they had questions, they could either directly ask you or post them in chat. But
Good idea.
one, how long have you been doing the trapeze?
I started in 1990. I think, Catherine, you started about the same time, didn't you? You have to unmute, by the way. Are you
Yes,
there?
I started in 1991 in Florida, and I was still living in France at the time.
Oh, wow.
We started the stationery together, actually. We wanted to do something together. Neither one of us had ever done it before. What we wanted to do was we wanted to put together a performance to be able to do at the club where we met, at the Club Med that we met. But unfortunately, they closed that club, so we ended up doing it at a different club, but we did it. We were able to perform for Club Med. And that routine you saw in the very beginning is the routine we put together to perform at the club. But that was the very first time we'd ever done that, was that particular performance.
And then how long did you do the trapeze? I mean, how many years?
I stopped right before I retired, which was it was in 2000, the beginning of 2019. And you know, we were moving and closing the business and all that, and I just got really busy. Catherine got busy and stopped a couple years before I did.
Mm-hmm.
But once we got down here, we've started back up again. Now, it's not, we're a little older, so it's not as much as we used to do. We'd go 2 or 3 times a week there in Los Angeles, and we're doing maybe once or twice a month now.
Okay.
So, Brad, I've got back problems. Do you recommend hanging by my neck in that thing that would help it out?
Actually,
do
my
wonders
mom
for
did
it.
that. My mom's doctor put her weekly on something like that. So, yeah, it depends on the weight you're hanging from it, right?
There you go, Susan. You know, to be honest with you, I don't know about that exactly, but the trapeze itself, you know, I've got a chiropractor like a lot of people have, you know, that go to, and he thinks it's the best thing for your back that you can do, and that it's really helped my back. So, you know, that's where the trapeze.
Brad?
Yes. Yes, Rick.
What possessed you in the first instance to go to trapeze school? And Catherine, why?
Catherine, you want to answer first?
Yes, well, in fact, I was a skier when I was back in France. I did some snow skiing and grass skiing competitions. And then I was kind of fed up with skiing, and I wanted to use my English because I went to the university in Paris to study English. Mm-hmm. And so I found the med in Florida. And trapeze was part of any activity like golf, tennis. And so I was with a friend and we stayed there 2 weeks. And the first week we just saw the little kids doing the trapeze and we say, we should try it. And for the first 3 days I was shaking. And last month when I went back to trapeze, I was shaking again because I'm afraid of height, but I wanted to go, you know. And so after that, from France, I choose to go to a Club Med where I could do trapeze and speak English.
Okay.
And so I went back to the Dominican Republic, to Mexico, Ixtapa, to the Bahamas. And then in 99, I met Brad at the trapeze in Mexico, in Playa Blanca. And then I met, you know, so that's how I started the trapeze, and I stopped skiing and went to the trapeze. So.
And let's see, for my background is, you know, a little similar, except not from France, of course. And also, Catherine, why don't you turn down your speaker a little bit, just so make sure we don't get any echoes back and forth here. She's in the room right next to me. I'd gone to Club Med once and I saw the trapeze. I didn't try it, but I said, you know, I want to try that. And I've got a fear of heights, and I thought that maybe doing that would get me through the fear of heights. And it didn't get me completely through it, but it helped a lot. And so I kind of accomplished that. I got to a point that really going up on the trapeze board and whatnot really didn't bother me much anymore. What's interesting about that, at the school where we were at, the person that owns that school also did skydiving, and he would bring some of the skydivers over. You think that they would not be afraid at all to go up on that board, but they were more afraid to go on the board than they were to jump out of an airplane, which I thought was kind of unusual, but it was almost universal. Almost every one of them was afraid to go up on the board, which was interesting.
Brad, from one circus performer to another, great job.
That's right. You've got a circus background too, don't you?
We did some of that at when I went to Ringling Brothers Bailey Clown College and then on the road. But you know, we did low stuff, not that. But I hooked up with some friends who certainly were trapeze artists and so forth. So that was pretty cool. But we're a little bit higher up there than me. I was slowly clown, you know, down on the ground. So, but really great. Thanks for sharing that with us. It brings you back to those good old clown days in the circus. So, and now without Ringling Brothers and a lot of the other shows, and certainly now with COVID, this is we brought back a lot of memories. So, thanks for that, Governor. I know you brought a lot of clowning around when you were governor in your year, so this is great.
Well, you probably enjoyed some of the clown pictures then that we had from the circus show, yes?
Yep, it was really good. I brought back a lot of great memories. So, and getting older here, you know, it's just clown now. But
well,
I really
a little history about interaction with Ringling Brothers. The family that runs the school that we went to is the Guyona family. They have a monument there in Sarasota, you know, the Circle of Fame. One of those monuments is to their family. And Tito Guyona was and is considered one of the best flyers that's ever flown also. They flew for Ringling Brothers, I think, for 8 or 10 years when they were really young. And until Ringling folded up shop, Tito Guyona ran their trapeze teams. They had 2 separate shows that they ran, you probably know. He was in charge of both of those trapeze teams for about 10 years, the last 10 years. So there's a lot of history
I met him in
family.
when we were there, and you know, in the arena and whatever. They're great. I mean, such nice people, and you know, it's the whole family, no matter what you did. But that was really great. So thanks for clowning around with us.
Okay.
So thanks to our wife. That was pretty cool.
Thanks for hanging around, right?
My pleasure.
I think we should ask Maggie to ask a question because she probably knows more than we all do about this.
She's.
I couldn't get myself to unmute for a second. How often would you how many hours a week were you training when you were full-time training?
I would train 2 or 3 hours on the flying and then an hour on the stationary. So it was 3 or 4 hours a week, probably, like that. Which, you know, we all had full-time jobs, and I was governor part of the time too. So, you know, to fit that in was not real easy. Although I'm sure you really appreciate that. You know, you develop a love for it, and you just keep doing it.
Brad, it got me thinking too that in your year, instead of bringing a Rotarian to a meeting, you could have bring a clown to a meeting. You know, it worked out pretty good. So
that's right.
Of getting new members.
If I'd known you, I could have brought you there.
Hey, I would have come. I would have come.
Well, Andy, you don't have to retire to be a clown, I think, right? So I think you can still do it. So your nose must be somewhere on your desk. Come on.
It is. It's forever. It's forever.
Anybody else?
Well, I got to meet Jackie LeClaire. Do you know who that is, Andrew? That was a very famous clown.
I think I met once or twice.
Yeah, he was
Everybody-
performing
everybody-
at the museum. Yeah.
Everybody came through. And you know, just real quick, when you talk about leotard, you know, part of my dissertation was a history, believe it or not, an education, but my history was on the history of the circus with the Big Apple Circus. So, history of costume design. So I go back and telling my students, you know, because I do fashion, talking about Jacques Leotard, and nobody remembers that Jacques Leotard invented the leotard. So we have a lot of fun, and so many things from the circus really wound its way into fashion. You know, the boas, leotard, even what we call crazy glue was in the old days hot glue, because it was on, you know, leotards and circus girls and whatever, because when you were doing somersaults and everything, and probably Brad would know, it made sure that, you know, nothing was, you know, falling off or coming off the garment. So a lot of great stuff that I learned when I was doing that dissertation with costumes, and that rich history of the costumes that come from all circuses, European and South American, Russian. So it's a great thing that we don't think about, and certainly with a costume design. I'm sure, and I saw that with Brad's costumes and everything. So it's very rich, and things that a lot of students, you know, you would know, Suzanne, from art and so forth, but we don't really get into. But it's such a great history going back hundreds of years. Even Ashley's circus in London, where, you know, the horses went around that barge going around the Thames. People don't even think about that, you know, and that was a couple hundred years ago. So it's just rich and fascinating. So again, I get goosebumps hearing about seeing all this tonight. So thank you. You made my day during COVID. Thank you.
Catherine, you went to a school in Florida, you said, or was it a Club Med in Florida?
No, that was the Club Med in, where was it? Not far from Port St. Lucie.
Okay, so
Yes.
south of here, yeah. Because Maggie goes to a school in Clearwater, Florida, and a lot of people don't know it exists, and that is our Rotary district. So, yeah.
We introduced the trapeze and the circus to my club. It was before I was even president of the club. I was in charge of the demotion party for the person that was president, and as part of that, Catherine decided that we would do a performance for them. Now they were in the Beverly Hills Hotel, and they were up on the second level, and it overlooked kind of like a park area. It had a big grassy area in it. So we set up a trapeze there. Nobody saw that, of course, while they started the event. So we started the event, and then we went off and got changed. The MC went on with the show, but then directed everybody to go outside. They didn't tell them what was going to happen. And we just started the show. The music started and we started, and we were recording it. And you could hear people saying, "Is that Brad? Is that Catherine?" Because they didn't know. And of course, we were in our costumes. And so that was the first time that we ever did anything for Rotary. But our very first performance was for my Rotary Club. So that's kind of special.
That was nice. Yeah.
Brad, I think, didn't Florida State have the Flying High Circus? I think years ago, either Florida or Florida State had a program. I'm not sure if you heard about it, but I think they did years ago.
Yes, I think they did too. I think you're right. It's Florida and Illinois. I don't know if it's Illinois State, maybe, Andy. Yeah, I think those are the two main ones in the U.S. that had programs, I think.
Where are you two now?
What's that?
Brad, where do you reside now, you two? Because you said California. Are you still?
We're in Fort Myers.
You're in Fort Myers.
Just south of Fort Myers. We're in Estero.
So you don't want to open a school for other young fledgling trapeze artists?
Probably not, although people here would love us to do a show. I just don't know that we're up to that.
Well, you can hang a swing from a tree and do that very low.
That's a good idea. Maybe we'll think about it that way.
Well, aren't the Wallanders still in the area? I thought I had. I mean, they're tightrope walkers, but
Right.
he did pull something across in St. Pete across the mall and has walked all over. But I think the grandson or great grandson is still doing things.
I think you're right, and the the interesting little tidbit that some people don't know is that they got their name the Flying Wallendas, right? That is their kind of their nickname. Well, they did tightrope. They didn't do flying trapeze.
Right, that's why I'm saying it. I know that they just walked back and forth. Yeah.
Well, they got their name because so many of them fell.
Yeah. Well,
Seriously.
and on YouTube you can see the last one go because he's actually jumped. Well, I think he wanted to fall, so that's it's one way to go. Yeah.
All right.
So
Brad, maybe
watch out, Mill. Will.
Brad, maybe we could do a district grant for this. That would be pretty awesome.
Hit the low trapeze, like I just suggested. You know what, Andy? You could get back on that swing with him with that clown nose, and then we would have a club that would be a lot more, fit.
Around.
Yeah, I think clowning around would be fun.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. All right, Brad, I want to thank you again. That was a great program. I want to recognize our guests this evening. If you notice, we have Chris Casella. He is the District 6950 District Governor nominee designate. Yay! We've got, of course, Scott Burns, and he is from the Rotary Club Trinity. And then Maggie, welcome. We're glad you're here. And then if you notice on your screen, there is a gentleman named Richard, and that is my dad. That's Richard A.Bostdorff. He is our newest member. He's honorary at the moment, but anyway, so I've got Richard A.Bostdorff, I've got my husband, Will Miller, and then, of course, I'm tied to both of them. So there you go. Anyway, again, Brad, Catherine, wonderful presentation. I am so glad that, Brad, you're in our club, and Catherine, you're with us. And it's approaching 8 o'clock. We can just go ahead and tie things up. Brad, if you would be so kind as to lead us in the 4-way test.
Sure.
Unmute.
Yeah, everybody get off mute. Yes. Is it the truth?
Is it true?
Is it fair to all
concerned?
Will it build and better friendship?
Will it be beneficial
to
all
concerned? Now, just a quick story about that is that we were at an international conference, and we were sitting with the director of our 2 zones, and he was called up to give the 4-way test. And as he was going up, he says, I forget it. This is a true story. Can you rip? He said, it's on a certain page. Will you rip that out and give it to me? So I did. So if anybody ever forgets it, don't feel bad.
No.
Was a senior moment.
This was a director that forgot it.
Yeah, we all have them. I mean,
There's little cards. You can get little cards and
the little cards, a little coin. We all can have our cheat sheets.
So Elisa, thank you too for letting us do this. It was fun, and
My pleasure.
We're enjoying you and Will so much, and the club also. So thank you all.
Okay, and great, thank you. I want to make one quick note to our club members. We are going to continue on with our regular third Thursday schedule. In December, we're going to have kind of a potluck celebration program if you want to go ahead and send me recipes, drink recipes, food recipes, we'll just have, it'll be very casual, celebratory. And then starting in January of 2021, I sent out a survey to our club members, and I got pretty much overwhelming response. We will be changing our Zoom club meeting times to the first Monday of every month. It will remain at 7 p.m. But because so many of you see, we have so many people that can't be on Thursday. We've had a lot of people say, hey, you know, Thursdays just don't work for me. I do realize that for a couple of our members, Mondays are not the best either.
Okay.
But I weighed all of the responses I got, and for right now, the majority of them were for had Monday listed. Now, that being said, we can also set up another meeting time, and this might involve our more international members. The iPhone that Alphonse he's on, he is on from Cameroon, Africa, and I believe it's like 1 in the morning right now. Well, it's probably going on
2 in the morning.
Just as in Germany, it's the same thing for Europe.
And it's the same thing for Germany.
So if you do Saturday lunch or something, you know, you really get more people. Yeah.
Zenthil is in India, and it is right now 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Remember 5:30. So we will work on a time to better accommodate also our international members.
But I need a job, guys. I'm still working. Okay.
Okay. Well, good to see you, Suzanne. Have a good evening. Andrew, good to see you.
Bye, Suzanne. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. It was
Raymond,
great.
good to see you. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and we will see you again next time.
Great.
Thanks for having us.
Stay safe.
Yep.
May all your days be circus days.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Okay. Hey, Dad. I will try to unmute him.
Can you unmute him?
You know what? It's just.
Can you unmute yourself, Dick? Yeah, unmute. Go.
There you.
Okay, there you go.
Hey there. Oh.
Can't hear him.
That's kind of weird.
Huh.
That way.
No, can't hear you, Dick.
Is your sound turned up on your computer?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Hmm. Well, it's good to see you. We will call you later.